Hi, we are Hawaii Injured Workers Alliance, and we are here tonight to do an informational session about workers' compensation and some of the benefits. And tonight we have Wayne Wakita, who's an attorney in the field, as well as Dan Matsui. And they are here to help us try to make some sense out of what workers' compensation is. I'm also a vocational rehab counselor, and the benefits under workers' compensation, it is one of the benefits under the workers' compensation, and can be a useful tool to assist people back to work. So we'd like an opportunity to have these people give you an overview of what the workers' compensation system is.
This is time, and you get hurt here, and your condition is real bad, and hopefully when you go to the doctor and physical therapy, your condition gets better, 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 better. If you're lucky, you get 100% better, and basically your case is all POW. But unfortunately, in a lot of cases, there comes a time when your doctor might tell you that you're not going to get better, you're not going to get worse, your condition is stabilized. Now, all the time you're in treatment and your doctor is giving you off work papers or disability certificates, you're entitled to TTD, that's temporary total disability. Temporary total disability is supposed to be equal to 2/3 of your average weekly wage, AWW. This average is calculated based upon your earnings for the 52 weeks before your date of injury. And you should probably check that, because quite often employers and carriers don't include things that are supposed to be included in calculating the average, such as meals or overtime. And sometimes the calculations can get a little bit complicated, so that always has to be checked. Unfortunately, in Hawaii, each year the state determines a maximum amount of TTD. And so especially for the higher wage earners, that turns out to be a big disadvantage. For those employees who are at not so high wage level, your TTD might approximate your take home, because although I'm not giving you any tax advice, your workers' compensation TTD is not taxable. Now, once your condition reaches stability, you'd probably be sent out to another doctor who would try to measure the extent of any permanent problem you have. And he expresses that as a percentage of impairment. Now, this percentage, together with some other factors, is used to calculate the percent of PPD, or permanent partial disability. The way this percentage is converted to a dollar figure is not fair. It doesn't make sense. It's stupid, but this is what the statute says. And just by way of example, we don't know what PPD is going to be in a particular case, but let's just use 5% as an example. So the way it's converted to a dollar figure is like this. It goes 5% times 312 weeks times the maximum TTD allowable for your date of injury. And I don't recall what a specific number is. I'm just going to use a made-up number. And I'm going to estimate for an injury in 2008 at $696. So if you run this calculation, I think it comes to $10,857 in some sense. So if you have a PPD, a permanent partial disability of 5%, you'd be entitled to an award or a settlement of about $10,800. If the 5% is doubled, or it's 10%, this of course is doubled, so it'll be about $21,600, $700 or so. Now, Sometimes after a work injury, the injured person cannot return to his or her old job because of some permanent limitations placed upon him or her by the attending physician. So in cases like that, the workers' compensation statute provides that you're entitled to the services of a private vocational rehabilitation counselor, such as Ms. Lori Hamano, who introduced us. And that voc rehab counselor will basically take you through 4 steps. You're entitled to your old job back. If that's not feasible, then some other job with the same employer. If that's not feasible, then some other job with another employer. And these first 3 steps have the goal of getting you back to your former earning capacity. Unfortunately, that's determined as of your date of injury. So again, that's another reason why the calculation of AWW, or average weekly wage, is very important. Now, if these first 3 steps for some reason are not feasible, then you might be entitled to some retraining. Now, because TTD and PPD are relatively limited, I often suggest that in a lot of cases, one of your most valuable work comp benefits is the right to vocational rehabilitation, especially since the VR counselor will probably be helping you figure out what kind of work you can do for the rest of your working life. Stan,
I just wanted to mention a couple of things about the controversial medical treatment. That's one of the big areas that I hope the Hawaii Injured Workers Alliance will work on, and that is that we have 2 problems. One is that the rates of payments to medical providers are so low that a lot of providers are now refusing to accept workers' compensation cases. That is, they will not treat injured workers who want to use the workers' compensation system. Number 2, a lot of medical providers are dropping out of the system, period. We've had a number of specialists leave Hawaii, and it's part of the total medical treatment crisis we have in Hawaii. We do not have enough subspecialists and specialists, particularly in the neighbor islands, who are treating generally. And for workers' compensation, those numbers are starting to become just handfuls. And on some islands, you do not have orthopedics. Some islands, you do not have neurologists. Some islands, you do not have, you're running out of chiropractors. You have very few psychologists on the different islands who are willing to handle injured workers. So that's part of the subset. The third thing is that the workers' compensation fee schedule has turned into a huge nightmare and hassle for most of the providers, and the providers just don't want to do them. So just to get your person treated has turned out to be a big battle between the insurance company and attorneys and the injured worker. In the meantime, a lot of injured workers who do not have, or whose private insurance does not want to cover them, are pretty much stuck waiting for the treatment to be approved. So that is a huge area that we have to work on, and hope to work on real hard.
Okay, there are maybe 2 other areas I'd like to cover real quickly. TTD, or temporary total disability, how long you can receive TTD varies from case to case, depends how you progress with your doctor. So the amount of TTD, it's a variable period. However, PPD, or permanent partial disability, is a fixed amount. And theoretically, at least, after the point of stability here, any payments that you might receive might be coming out of PPD. In other words, your PPD amount is getting smaller. One additional benefit if you're enrolled in a bulk rehab, and if you're signed up with a bulk rehab counselor, is that as an additional benefit, while you're working with a bulk rehab counselor, you're entitled to TTD benefits. So sometimes when you're enrolled in VR, it has the effect of stretching out this TTD period and not reducing your PPD amount. And I think the last point for this introduction is that there are only a very few doctors who do these rating exams to obtain your percentage for impairment. And it's very critical that you identify a doctor who can at least try and give you a fair impairment rating. It's a big, big problem, I think, that not enough people are aware of. And so unless Dan has anything else, I'd just like to again mention that what we discussed today is just a general outline, and you probably should not use any of it in your specific case. If you've got questions, you should probably see a good work comp attorney.